I've written 2 articles, one on Sever's disease, which is the ankle injury, and one on Osgood-Schlatter's, which is the knee injury. And they're growth-related injuries. And they're called self-limiting injuries. So there's not a whole lot you can do to prevent them. They do happen in youngsters that participate a lot in sport. So they've actually done a study that found that in kids that specialize early, which is one of the things we're trying to move away from a little bit, there's a greater incidence of Sever's disease, for instance. So, sorry, that was Osgood-Schlatter's, the knee problem. So there are definitely injuries that are specific to different times of growth. And, you know, there it would be lovely to like get involved in a school. We work with some of the schools and actually provide stretching programs, because in growth, one of the things that happens is skeletal growth outruns, or skeletal growth happens faster than muscle growth. So they'll end up getting these very tight tissues which pull on the tendons, which actually cause these traction injuries. So you could actually get, if a school had a biokineticist involved, or they brought one in for a general screening and stretching program, that could happen. But there are lots of those kind of injuries. Stress fractures, classically, we used to say their onset was 14. We're now seeing them in 10 to 12-year-olds, but I think that's because of puberty happening earlier, but also specialization and too much bowling and cricket happening too young. So there are a number of injuries where that is the case.
I think it's a very simple thing that the coach can do. It's just measure height and weight. And it's funny, it's one of the simplest measures to do. So if you want to understand whether your player is at risk of getting any of these developmental injuries, just measure height and weight. And if they've suddenly grown up, you know, or grown an inch or grown 2 inches since the last month's weigh-in or the last month's check, you can then be assured that they're at risk. And I think that's the important thing. And I think, as Janine said in her talk, it's not to turn your eye against the injury. It's rather just to try and engage it. And it's a very simple tool, a height and weight measure. It's once a month. You get everybody in there. And I think as a coach, you'd be a hell of a surprised as to how they change and how quickly these young kids develop and grow. And you just know that they are generally at risk. So when the player comes to you and they complain about a sore knee, you know they're not faking it. And you've got the emotional intelligence to then say to them, okay, we've got to pull back on your practices. We just don't want you to, because he's just susceptible at that stage.